I'm going to show a very common but effective defense attack position called the armbar. In this position, my adversary either brings me to the ground, I trip, I end up on my back. Once I end up on my back, once he's in between my legs, I close my legs together, as you can see, in a closed guard. What we call a closed guard position. This position is closed, meaning my legs are wrapped around his back. He's in this position, locked inside my guard, and I'm fighting from my back, as you can see. The first thing I want to do here in this closed guard, I notice his arm is available here. Either arm I could attack. I'm going to choose to attack his right arm. I lock his wrist with my hand. My left hand, I lock his wrist. I come over the top of his arm, grabbing him behind his tricep. I grab him behind his tricep because this is the most leverage I have in this position. If I go here, he's going to lock his arm and it's going to make it impossible for me, or very, very difficult to bring the arm across the body. When I go the opposite way, grabbing him behind his tricep, bringing his arm across my body, I now have his arm. I proceed to step on his hip with my left foot, leaving my right leg free. If you notice, my right leg is not bent in this position. It's straight. I'm going to come up very hard under his armpit, hitting him under his armpit with a straight leg. My leg is straight, bringing his body in a perfect position where I can come back, lift my hip, past my leg, and lock very deep, very hard on his neck area, preventing him from getting up off the ground, or if he does get up off the ground, it makes the position worse. I'm holding his wrist with both hands. If you notice, his thumb is pointed upward towards the ceiling or sky. I'm going to lock my knees. I'm going to try to touch my knees together, pinching his arm, squeezing his wrist, and lifting my belly slow. He taps out. I showed a armbar, and the armbar, everybody seems to know the armbar. That's does Jitsu, watches the UFC fights, or Strikeforce, or whatever you choose to watch. And I broke the position down from start to finish. And the armbar is a very basic position. People call it a basic position, but it's one of the bread and butter positions of a ground fighter, of a jiu-jitsu practitioner. Where on my back, I must get his arm. I have to get his arm using leverage. You're going to get a strong guy that's going to resist you getting his arm. If you notice, I held his wrist in my left hand. I went behind his arm with my right hand of his tricep, pulling his arm across my body. I didn't need his arm completely across my body, just enough to be on my chest, stepping on his hip. I used my right leg as it's like a catapult. I catapulted him by straightening my leg. I straightened my leg and hit him underneath his armpit, causing his body to shift to a position where I could lift my left leg over his head and put it and set up a perfect armbar position. I held his wrist with both hands. That's very important, guys, because sometimes we see people just lay their arm over a wrist, and some people they're very flexible, double jointed, and they don't tap the arm bars. If you do the position correctly, holding the wrist, pointing the thumb up towards the sky, the ceiling, that exposes the joint, and I was able to finish him with an arm bar, break somebody's arm, or cause them to tap out. So you want to be careful with that position when you're training with your partners, training partners. You want to go slow.